Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Okay, let's continue with Master YongHua's chant instructions.
我就现在要死了，你们还不要退心，还往前去。我希望我这个灵魂呢保护着你们去取经去。
You should not retreat. Keep going forward. I wish after I die, my soul can protect you to get the sutras.
说完这话，这个慧景就冻死了，你看这。
Having said that, Hui Jing froze to death. You see.
所以有这么一条偈颂说：“晋为梁堂齐代间，晋奉梁堂齐代间。”
So, there was a verse during the Jin, Wei, Liang, Tang 7 dynasties. During the Jin, Song, Liang, Tang 7 dynasties.
晋那也是魏，晋宋梁唐齐代间。
Is it Wei after Jin? During the Jin, Song, Liang, Tang 7 dynasties.
这个高僧求法别长去人成百归无十。
Eminent monks left Chang'an to seek the Dharma. Hundreds left, and less than 10 returned.
后辈怎知前者艰？
How can the later generations know the difficulties of the former generations?
说在晋朝的时候，宋朝的时候，那个五代的宋朝，这个宋朝。
This verse said that during the Jin dynasty, Song dynasty, that's the Song dynasty of the 5 dynasties period.
在唐朝以前的，还在隋朝以前，和魏齐代间那个。
The Song dynasty was before the Tang dynasty, before Sui dynasty, during the period of Wei and the 7 dynasties.
有7个皇帝，有一些高僧向印度去求法。
There were 7 emperors. Some of these eminent monks went to India to seek the Dharma.
离开长安，去人成百，去有100，归无10，回来没有10个。
100 went, and less than 10 returned.
后人怎知前者艰？后
How can the later generations know the difficulties of the former generations?
后边的人呢就不知道这个经典呢怎么样宝贵，怎么样艰难。
The future generations didn't know how precious the sutras are or how difficult it was to get.
只是中国人呢，到印度去求佛法拿生命来换。
This is the Chinese who went to India to seek the Buddha Dharma. They used their lives in exchange for the Dharma.
不是去想占领印度的土地，也不是想去抢印度的珠宝。
They didn't go to invade the land of India. They also didn't go to rob the jewels of India.
就去求佛法，不要性命，去求佛法。
They went there to seek the Buddha Dharma. They risked their lives to seek the Buddha Dharma.
这是美国人呢有福报，你现在不用费那么多精神，很容易就可以得到这个很完整的佛法。
The Americans have blessings. Now, you don't need to spend that much effort. It is very easy to have the complete Buddha Dharma.
这个现在中国这些个经典，这都经过很多这个大德高僧啊，这个菩萨罗汉呢，来印证来研究啊。
The sutras in China were studied and verified by many great, virtuous, eminent monks.
Okay, stop. Bodhisattvas and arhats. Okay, so Master YongHua just said here that Chinese Buddhism at first was very difficult for them. The first thing they did in China was to get sutras, and many eminent monks and many monks risked their lives to do that and lost their lives while doing that. And it's individual efforts, not sponsored by states. Some are sponsored, some are just individual efforts. So that's how the sutras got back to China. Okay, and what's also even more important is just this slide here in 210. They were studied and verified by great virtuous eminent monks, bodhisattvas, and arhats. Okay, and that's critical. You need to have the sutras. You bring them back with a translation. Has to be good enough. So that's what happened here in the U.S. We had sutras here before. We had Mahayana sutras from whether it's from Chinese texts or Japanese texts or Vietnamese texts and so forth, but the translation used to be done by scholars. Names like Dr. Suzuki. Have you heard of him? He's a famous Japanese professor who translated a lot of Zen texts as well as Hinayana texts, primarily. And then we also have, from the scholars, a person more famous is Thomas Cleary, where he translated a lot of Mahayana texts, such as including the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay, so those were available to us. However, it's not until Master YongHua came to the U.S. and taught his disciples Chinese, okay, and taught them how to translate sutras. So he actually did a lot of work, and so and certified these translations. Okay, and that's when that's the start of our Mahayana. So that's very, very important work because it's verified by virtuous eminent monks, bodhisattvas, and arhats. That's them over there, DRBA. Okay, we owe them that. And that's one of the greatest contributions to American Buddhism. Yes, 4.
Yes, Master. I have 2 quick questions. One, the Song dynasty, was that not one of the more benevolent dynasties toward Buddhism?
It was, but the times where Chinese Buddhism was proliferating was the Tang Dynasty. There are many eminent monks, great monks who came during the Tang dynasties. Yeah, that's.
The other question is there any history and records of exactly what Chinese monks were confronted with when they arrived in India? I would imagine in many places Indian Buddhists may or may not be receptive to people, hey, I want to borrow your sutras.
No, not that we know of, because it's not that important. Because to me, the most important thing is the translation. The Buddhism cannot come to China unless it's translated properly into Chinese, and that task was actually sponsored by the emperors, because it's such a monumental task. They have thousands of people translating the Tripitaka, and they invited Indian masters, Indian specialists as well to come over and help the translation. They're very proud of it. So there's a cooperation between the Indians and the Chinese in order to transfer the treasure, the Buddha Dharma treasure from India to China. So you can tell that back then that their records weren't that important, but the fact is that a lot of wise Indian masters, so clearly they were bodhisattvas, they would come from India, go from India to China to help the translation. Okay, and that's critical. And then later Chan came. Okay, this is a story of the Buddha Dharma right there, because later, even with the translation, people could not understand these sutras. Okay, it's not until Bodhidharma, great Master Bodhidharma, came to China in the 6th century. Is it 6th century? 6th century, and that's when he taught Chan. That's when the Chinese were able to understand these sutras. Yes, Andres.
So this Venerable who translated the sutras, was he before Venerable Bodhidharma?
Yes, there were Indians and Chinese eminent monks who did the translation, okay, but it's just for the sake of translation and the text itself. So it's the store, the Tripitaka store that was translated and verified. It's not just translated; it's verified. It's certified. Like 印证, 证 is to certify, not verify. Certified these translations, meaning the translations are correct and consistent with the Buddha's teachings. Okay, so you have this jargon here that was in Chinese, where they translated into the language. So they have to use a certain jargon, Chinese jargon, and then they were, and the sages came to certify that they were correct. Okay, that's very important. We need certification. So that's why, I owe a debt of gratitude to Master YongHua and his organization for doing the translation to English, which is the basis of my initial study of Mahayana. And without that text, I'd be in big trouble, seriously. Okay, and because after you read those English translations from Master YongHua's organization, And you read, the Suzuki or Cleary, whether his himself or his son translation, it's night and day. Those people are confused; they have no clues on what they're translating. And so you read those poorly translated works, you're getting confused. It's not Buddhism at all. So that's why this is so critical. You need to have certified translation of the sutras, which Master YongHua did. Furthermore, he also taught us Chan at the same time as well. Okay? So that's why later it's his disciple who certified the translation. Early is Heng Shi and those Heng Chi and all those people had some kung fu, some wisdom. That's why they were able to certify it. Whereas when Master YongHua certified it, he basically, touches. He didn't understand English much, so he would touch the sutra and say, it's not bad. Okay, it's certifiable. That's how he did it. So actually, the certification, that happened when he was there, even though Master YongHua didn't understand English, but he would know by touching, by looking at it. It's a pretty good translation. Of course, he knew that some of the translations are off, like the slides here, but the contents are there. Okay, I'm not comparing his translation to our slides here, Chinglish here. I'm talking about the fact his certification initially from Master YongHua was correct. Okay, it's a spiritual penetration who would put his hands to the sutra text and say, yeah, it's okay. He doesn't even have to put it. He put it there for his students' sakes, to show them he's checking it, okay? But all he has to do is look at it and say, yeah. Okay, they would know. Okay, that's called spiritual penetration. And later, his disciples became enlightened, and they were able to translate themselves. Okay, in a way, it's unfortunate to me, is because a lot of translation were not deep enough. His teaching is a lot deeper than the translations or the certifications. When you certify something, you can only certify to your level of wisdom, okay, your level of samadhi. And these people, samadhi, not quite there yet. That's why Mahayana, as per their translation, is pretty good. Semantics-wise, syntax-wise, contents-wise, but it's the upper part that needs a lot of work to me. Okay, so it's perfect for us. We ignore the low level. We just look at the high levels and complement them. Okay. All right. And so this is very important. So I can tell you that if people want to learn Mahayana, you should look at English texts, which is pretty good right now. Theirs and ours, which is a good combination. And I hope in the future, when more of you are of the caliber, you should look at the translation of your own languages and verify it, okay? Because the translation is very critical. I would never let uncertified people translate the works. It's just distortion of the Buddha's teaching. Just the same, I would not personally, I would not allow people who have no wisdom to teach, unless we look over the shoulders. Okay, because if you're not careful, the demons get in and they will distort our teachings. Very, very dangerous. Okay? and we don't want to help them, make it easier for them. Okay, so in general, DRBA is excellent. Okay, so you can depend on that. Okay, it's one of the biggest contributions. Okay, but you see, even with the proper translation, and again, they're good enough to certify up to, to, I can't tell you which level, but up to a certain level, but Mahayana is a lot higher than that. So that's why your turn when I'm done here, your contribution could be to improve upon those translations, to bring the English text, Mahayana text, to a higher level, more accuracy, if you will. Okay? And I don't think that I'll be able to do that in my lifetime, but your generation, you could do that. You could look into that. Okay? And in order for that to happen, Chan is one of the major vehicles to help you develop your wisdom a lot faster. That's how the Buddhist patriarchs have always done. Okay, continue, please.
都非常的好，比较完整，所以现在把它翻译成英文，这也是很方便的一回事。
Now they are very good and complete. So, now to translate them into English is also very convenient.
我们把这个慧景冻死了，这个法显法师就摸着这个慧景这个尸首就痛哭起来。
Anyways, Hui Jing froze to death. Dharma Master Fa Xian cried hard while rubbing his corpse.
这是俺们本来的愿力也没有满足呢，你现在就死喽！我一定
He said, "Our original vow was not fulfilled, but now you already passed away. I must."
你虽然死了，但是你也不要有什么遗憾。
Although you passed away, please do not have any regret.
就是有什么心里有什么不满足的，我一定到那去求佛法去。
Regret is to have something in the heart that's not satisfied. I will for sure continue to seek for the Buddha Dharma.
说了，又走了，经过30多个国家，他们就到印度王舍城了。
Having said that, they walked past 30 countries, arrived at Rajagriha, India.
离王舍城有30里，这个地方有一个庙。他到这个庙上就。
There was a temple about 30 miles away from Rajagriha, and he arrived at that temple.
这个庙上很多和尚，有几百。
There were many monks in that temple, several hundreds of them.
他就说他是从中国来的，在这修佛法，想要到灵鹫山呢去看一看。
He said that he came from China to seek for the Buddha Dharma and said that he wanted to go to Gurakuta to have a look.
Until you pronounce it.
I'm very sorry.
That's the same kind of spelling.
Sorry.
这些和尚，你说，那去不了的，那个地方啊，那个太危险了，没有人敢到灵鹫山去。现在
Those monks said, nobody can go there. That place is too dangerous. Now nobody dares to go to Garakuta.
现在佛在世的时候可以，现在不行了，不可以到那种去。
It was okay to go when the Buddha was alive, but not now. You can't go there.
我问你，为什么不可以去？当初佛怎么可以去？咱们现在就不可以去了呢？
If I can't go, then how come the Buddha could go at that time? How come we can't go now?
别人说，佛在世的是佛有神通，可以降。
Those people said, when the Buddha was alive, the Buddha had these spiritual penetrations.
服这个恶兽，可以降服这个种种的这个魔。
He could subdue these evil beasts. He could subdue assorted demons.
现在这个灵鹫山上啊，不要说旁的，就这黑狮子啊，那就不得了。
Now, on Garakuta, not to mention others, just the black lions alone are already horrible.
见了人他就吃，这还不知有多少的黑狮子，所以不能去的。
They will eat anybody they see, and there are countless black lions there, so we can't go there.
他先说不能去，我在中国来这么困苦艰难这个毒蛇猛兽什么都遇到的太多了，我都不怕。
Fa Xian said, I can't go. I came from China. It was so difficult. I encountered too many poisonous snakes, beasts, and others.
现在我到灵山的底下了，我怎么？
I was not afraid to die then. Now, I arrived at the bottom of Gurakuta.
可以就怕死不去呢？不去看呢？我无论如何我要去看一看。
How can I be afraid of death and not go there? Not go there to have a look. No matter what, I want to go and have a look.
庙上说好了，派2个和尚呢跟着他去喽，就陪着他到这个灵鹫山，到这灵鹫山上面。
The people at the temple said, Okay. Thus, they sent 2 monks to go with him, to accompany him to Gurakuta.
他也走了一天路啊，到这个灵鹫山，这个释迦牟尼佛所住的地方啊。
They walked about a day and arrived in Gurukhuta, where Shakyamuni Buddha lived.
那么已经天要黑了，他就说我们在这住下。
It was dark and getting dark. So, Fa Xian said, let's stay here overnight.
这两个和尚你说怎么样？这两个和尚大概是印度的和尚。
Those two monks, what about them? Those two monks were probably Indian monks.
在这儿都可以住的，这个地方住呢，一定被这个狮子给吃了这不可以住的。无论如何，你赶快。
Oh, who can stay here? If we stay here, we would for sure be eaten by the lions. We can't stay here, no matter what.
咱们快点回去了。他说我不回去了，你们两个如果不愿意在这住，你们两个先回去喽。
You should hurry up. We should go back quickly. Fa Xian said, I'm not going back. If you two don't want to stay here, you can go back first.
发现法师这么说完了之后，这个两个和尚果然毫不客气，说那好了，你在这。
After Dharma Master Fa Xian said so, sure enough, those two monks turned around and left without holding back.
叫这个狮子吃了，还要弘扬佛法呢，咱们舍不得俺这个生命。
You want to stay here, even eaten by the lions, you still want to propagate the Buddha Dharma. We can't afford to lose our lives.
于是乎这两个和尚就跑了，他在这个地方就拜佛。
Therefore, those two monks ran away. They ran away, and Fa Xian bowed to the Buddhas there.
拜佛呀，就好像见到释迦牟尼佛还在这法会上说法一个样，这种事。
When he was bowing, it was like seeing Shakyamuni Buddha speaking the Dharma in the Dharma assembly there.
圣界宛然，拜，你说怎么样？果然。
As if the holy state was still there, he bowed and bowed. You know what happened?
这个庙上呢，这个和尚所说的话就应验了，就灵了。灵什么呢？这三个黑狮子来了。
Sure enough, the temple monk's words came true. It was efficacious. How so? 3 black lions came.
这三个黑狮子，这个狮子比老虎都厉害啊，黑狮子更厉害，更不讲道理。
Those 3 lions were more fierce than tigers. The black lions were more fierce and more unreasonable.
到这地方，这个狮子就伸舌头舔他自己的嘴唇又摇尾巴，怎么向他来示威向他看他们多威风。
The lions came to this place. They stretched their tongues out, licked their lips, and wagged their tails to demonstrate and show him how powerful they were.
这个法显法师在这时候就诵咒、诵经，看他们来了，就对他们讲话了。
At that time, Dharma Master Fa Xian was reciting mantras and sutras. He saw them came here, so he talked to them.
说你们如果是想要吃我的话嘛，你们要等我诵完了经、诵完了咒再吃我，没有关系。
He said, "If you would like to eat me, you should wait until I finish reciting the sutras and mantras. Then that's okay."
What does it sound like to you? He's kind of scared, a little bit. If it weren't, yes, too.
Thank you, Master. It sounds like he's marinating himself.
Yes, Andres.
Last week, someone asked, what do you do when we're surrounded by wolves? And he gave us the answer right here. You wait. You ask them to wait till you're finished reciting the sutras.
Yeah, can I recite my sutras and mantras first? After I'm done? Whenever I'm done, then you can eat me. And I want you to know I'm not scared at all. Okay, let's continue. I don't know what he finds. He found these stories. They're so cool.
我可以从你们凡位来解解这个法缘布施给你们我这个身体。
I am willing to establish this Dharma affinity with the three of you. I can offer you my body.
这是一个道理。如果你们不想吃我的话，你们认为没有这种的缘，你是来试验我的，那么你就赶快走吧，不要在这个
If you don't want to eat me, if you think we don't have such affinity, if you just came to test me, then you should leave quickly. Don't stay here.
这么说完了这话，这三个狮子就趴到他脚前面了，他就用这个手摸给这三个黑狮子的摸顶。
Having said this, the three lions laid in front of his feet. Fa Xian patted them and rubbed the three black lions' crown.
I don't know if you remember the story of Master Lingyou, the Master Weishan, who was sent to the mountains, the Wei Mountain, to propagate the Chan school. And he went up there by himself, no help, nothing whatsoever, no rice, nothing. Went up there, came up there, and just chose a spot, sat down, meditated. Okay? Didn't talk to anyone. After several years, he was ready. So he said, wait a minute, no one's coming up here. I haven't seen a single soul yet. But I'm supposed to come here. I was told to come here to teach people. So how can I possibly teach people if no one comes up here? Do you remember? So the point is, after you're enlightened, you have to do something. You cannot keep on sitting there. Okay? You have to descend from the mountain. That's a Chinese saying. Go down the mountain. Okay? So we went down the mountain, and I realized why no one came up at all for those several years. He was meditating several years. Okay, that's pretty fast. Okay, and And so he realized that the road was there's a point there where there are a lot of beasts, snakes and lions and tigers and so forth, who were blocking him. Who were right there, hanging around there, like having a party, having a debate or something, who is the strongest. And so he looked at them and said, that's why no one dare come up to the mountain. So he said, did he say, hey, mountain tiger, I'm coming over to you, and if you want to eat me, I understand. But just remember that I'm here to teach the Chan, and therefore you don't want to eat me at all. Okay, just in case you didn't know, he didn't negotiate with them at all. What he said, he told himself, well, I'm here to teach. And to me, remarkably, this is what I'm so impressed by this. He said, listen, my mission is to teach people, and yet these beasts are stopping me from doing it. And what's most impressive is that he walked right into them and said, here I am. Okay? Didn't negotiate. Didn't recite sutras, didn't recite mantras at all. He walked straight in the middle of them, okay? And he told himself, well, if I'm here and I'm supposed to teach, and if they eat me, then I don't have to teach. Hooray! And to me, what's so remarkable about this, what do you like about this story? I like this part. I really love that part. No fighting. Our doctrine, no fighting. This guy is still fighting. He's still reciting sutras. He's still reciting mantras. Master Lingyou, Master Weishan, they say, okay, I go about doing my work. You eat me. No, needed nothing whatsoever. That is so impressive. And luckily for us, they didn't eat him at all. They left him alone. Yes, Andres.
I've looked up how to pronounce it. It's Gridrakuta.
Gridrakuta?
Gridrakuta. Yeah.
Drakuta. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's a holy place where the Buddha spoke a bunch of the sutras. So I think that's why he was asked to the beasts to let him finish reciting mantras and sutras, because he arrived at one of the holy places. I don't think he was reciting the mantras and sutras for protection or to fight off the beasts. I think he just did it because he was at a holy place.
Yeah, very likely, yeah. But he still has to talk to them. Yes, Alex, 3.
Thank you, Master. In the two stories, the one that was just read and also the one you just told, a recurring theme I hear is the will to live post-enlightenment. In your story, it seems like the person didn't have really a will to live other than to serve the Dharma. And in this one, it seemed like they still had a will to live, and then that's what was driving them into this crazy panic state to give everything they got. Like you said, if the wolves come, you don't know what you'll show. He just went super into the sutra and super into the mantras to save himself. So, post-enlightenment, what is our will to live?
It's not about the will to live for Master Lingyou, Weishan, Chan Master. He didn't see any beasts. He didn't see anything there at all. So that's why he walked by. This guy still saw 3 black lions. That's why he has to talk to them. That's why he has to pat them and so forth. Okay, And compared to the great master Wei Shan, he says, what beasts? What snake? And that's a state of wisdom. When you're like that, there's no more fighting. Who's yelling at me? No one's yelling at me. Huh? No one is threatening to eat me. There's no lion, there's no tigers, nothing whatsoever. It's not about living at all. It's just that he entered the state where he says, what obstructions? But if it happened to be, I'm wrong, eat me. So it's called the middle way. It could be wrong too. I mean, that's life, you never know. But from his perspective, he says, what beasts? I'm not going to fight beasts. I don't need to fight beasts. What beasts? That's why he's enlightened. This guy is not, clearly. We are not allowed to pet lions, by the way. Just a small detail. I mean, I didn't want to bring up all these, many rules and regulations we have. We're not supposed to pet lions or dogs or cats or whatever. It's against the rules. Anyway, he's a great monk. What can I say? Okay? Okay, continue.
这三个黑狮子呢，就像猫那么样子，对人那么样亲善，那么样好。
Those 3 lions were like cats. They were so close, kind, and nice to people, like cats.
过了一个时期，这三个黑狮子跑了，大家这个三个黑狮子，或者也是因为一个人不够他们三个黑狮子吃。
After a while, those 3 black lions ran away. They ran away, maybe because one person was not enough food for all 3 black lions.
所以呀，末时候就大家都不吃所以呀，这个发现大师是在这个狮子口里头捡回来这一条生命。
So, might as well not eat him. So, Dharma Master Faxian's life was spared from the lion's mouth.
Because probably the lions preferred Indian food. This guy is too skinny, as you can imagine. Faxian, by the time he got there, his skin and bones. 5 Chinese spices, too much. And soy sauce. Oh, yeah. Yes, too.
Yes, Master. I believe there's some anecdotal evidence to the stupid human tricks people do when they're not thinking straight. And there have been occasions where humans have jumped the fences in zoos, in lion enclosures, and sometimes it's just disturbing to the lion. They don't know how to react because they normally don't see their food run up to them. So it happened in Woodland Park Zoo a long time ago, and this woman was a devout Christian, or a man, maybe it was a man, and he jumped in and stood there or was reciting, praying, and the lion came over and didn't know what to do, kind of slapped at him and then trotted away. And
He did what his ancestors did,
and
offering themselves to lions.
I actually pulled kind of a prank joke. The next day, I called the Woodland Park Zoo.
Bravery. Wait a minute. I think it's pretty brave. I would never dare do that. I would be too scared.
Well, what I was going to say is I called the park the
You
next
called
day.
the park. You took it too seriously.
And I asked him, I said, when are you going to feed the Christians to the lions? And hung up the phone.
Yes, Andres.
I was actually watching a nature thing on YouTube, a little video about how, really small young animals, sometimes they take, the lions or tigers to be their mother. And so they start like kissing them and cuddling them. And it makes the lions or the beasts really confused. And sometimes they either raise the baby as the child or they kind of just like walk away and let him go. So, because the lions are really used to chasing their prey. So maybe if you're not scared of it, like the way that this master was, or you show it compassion, it won't attack you.
Yeah, there are plenty of reasons why these strange occurrences happen. We don't know, okay? Or, the Roman legends, like when the founders of Rome were like the two brothers who were raised by wolves. They're suckling on the wolves' tits, and they let them. That's how they grew up. I would never dare go suck on your wolf's teats, whatever. But it works, you never know. Strange things happen. Okay, continue, please. Yes, 9.
From Chun, I visited the mountain before in India. It's pretty nice, good energy, and there were no black lions.
So this woman clearly has spiritual penetrations. Yes.
From San Jose, Daniel, how do you not become indifferent to the woes of the world after enlightenment?
How can you? You can choose. You can choose to look at them as wolves, or you can choose to look at them as not wolves. That's your choice. When you're not enlightened, you look at wolves as wolves. After you're enlightened, you have many more choices. And that's why these people are different. It's not something we can understand. Okay? It's not something that you want to explain. Because it's not meant to be explained. It's meant for you. You say, "Wow, it's so cool! Now I can go and walk through a snake pit and not worry about bitten once after I'm enlightened." I say, "Are you crazy? You want to try that after you're enlightened? Okay, I mean, don't be stupid." Okay, but it's not meant for us. Okay, it's not meant for us to imitate. Okay, or compare ourselves and justify it. These people have their own rationales and they have their own special circumstances. However, what's important is that if you find it cool, that it's kind of special, then become enlightened for yourself. Then verify it. Okay? It's not something that can be explained. It's not something that will make sense to us. They look at things differently in the way we do. Okay? This is Buddhism, by the way. Buddhism is not about explanations. Enlightenment, Buddhist enlightenment it cannot be explained. It's not meant to be explained. It's Buddhism, we teach Buddhism in order to bring you there and for you to verify what enlightenment is like. All right? This is the major difference about Buddhism versus the other religions. The other religions, they just pick up their scriptures and believe them because they have faith. They believe in those words. Because whether it's Muhammad's words or, a prophet's words or something, and they believe it, and that's fine. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. But for us, Buddhists, we're totally different. We believe it, yes, but we verify it. And so the challenge for the Buddhist teachers, okay, is to bring the students to that point where they can verify themselves instead of trying to explain to them because they cannot understand anyway. None of you, for example, if you're not enlightened, it's not possible, never mind about enlightenment, it's not possible for you to understand this simple thing I've been making fun of, needle way. It's not possible to explain it to you. Hinayana people, they don't touch it because they don't understand clearly. Okay, even Mahayana people, they don't talk about the middle way. It's not possible to explain. Okay, Buddhism is about verification, and this puts us in a very precarious position. That is, if we claim, we make those claims about things in the world. We've been, for example, learning from the Prajna Sutra, the Vajra Sutra, 6-page chart, Avatamsaka Sutra, and all those sutras that the Buddha taught, all those wonderful things, okay? What happened is that our Buddhist disciples are taught how to become enlightened in order to verify those things themselves, instead of asking me to verify for them. Okay? And all these, historically speaking, all these Buddhist disciples in the history of Buddhism everywhere in the universe, after they became enlightened, they verified and said, yes, all this teaching is true. Every single Buddhist teaching that the Buddha taught in the Tripitaka is true. It's not blind faith. It's very, very distinctive characteristic. You believe in order to be taught to verify. Them people only believe. It's called blind faith. For us, we believe and then we verify. And that's our secret. Our secret is we're not interested in blind faith. And blind faith is what? Superstition. So that's why the Buddhist teachers, okay, his job is not to generate knowledge. Buddhist teachers' jobs, okay, ultimately is to help people become enlightened so that they can verify these teachings. Okay, and that's a very, very, very important distinction. Only in Buddhism do you have this practice because it has to be spelled out. This is what the Chinese did. And what happened in this 21st century, people are only interested in knowing the words. knowing the scriptures, and they're not interested in verifying it themselves. And that's no longer Buddhism. I'm very concerned. In my generation, we practice like you, many of you. I'm so impressed. So many of you are working, have been working so hard, and you've been improving. Okay? That pleases me to no end. Okay? Because this is what Buddhism is supposed to happen. This is what's supposed to happen in Buddhism. This is what Buddhist disciples are supposed to do. They're supposed to undergo the training in order for us to pass on our knowledge to you. And that cannot happen unless you undergo rigorous training and suffer a lot. You're afraid to suffer, you're not going to make it. That's why I put up with concubines and people in the world like this, because as long as they're willing to suffer, I'm willing to put up with them. Because if you're willing to endure suffering, you'll make it. Look at the story of the Buddha. He endured suffering since beginning to end until he decided, I went to extremes. So what am I going to do? I'm going to meditate. That's it. I've seen extremes already. I've seen extremes of good life, one side. The other extremes of austerity and self-punishment, senseless suffering. There's a middle way somewhere, okay? And he found it and he taught us how to get there through this middle way. So our teachings is based on experience. It's not theory at all. He says, I did it. Now you can too. I show you how. And many generations of Buddhist disciples have done it by walking this path, this middle way. And that's what makes us so different from any other religions or any other spiritual practices. We verify. So who cares? Who cares if people, our own disciples, he's a fake monk, he's a bad monk, and so forth. Okay? Who gives a damn about these losers? It's about you. It's not about anyone else. We're doing this for you, each and every one of you, for you to become enlightened. That's the only interest. Why? Because there's nothing else better. It beats good food. It beats money. It beats fame. It beats sex. It beats, you name it. I would tell you, we're far better than that. Because you deserve it. Don't let anyone else convince you otherwise. You're worthy of it. And you can do it. Look at my disciples. They're a bunch of losers. But look at what Buddhism did to them. Look what the training did to them. Continue.
然后等到天亮了，他又往后回头啊，走了大约有1里路的样子，就遇到一个很高很大的这个。
He waited till dawn and started walking back. He walked for about a mile and met a very tall and very big person.
看这个样子有90多岁，穿的衣服啊非常朴素，就是很老实的穿着。
He looked like he was over 90 years old. His clothing was very simple. He dressed very low-key.
这个衣服，就和他打对面过去。他看这个人是，不是平常人，但是。
They walked past each other from the opposite side. Fa Xian looked at this person and felt he was no ordinary person.
他也想不到这个人是谁，以为这是普通的人。
But he couldn't think of who he was. Thus, he thought that he was an ordinary person.
又走几步，回头看看这个高大的人没有了，没有了，这个时候就很奇怪了。
He walked a few more steps and turned his head around to have a look. This big, tall person had disappeared. That was very strange.
前面又来一个很年轻的僧人，他就问这僧人说：“刚才这个很高很大的这个人是谁？”
In front, there was a very young monk coming. Therefore, he asked this young monk, "Who was this very tall and big person?"
这个僧人呢，对他一笑说：“啊，你问他呀，他是摩诃迦摄的大徒弟。”
The monk smiled. "You are asking about him? He is the first disciple of Mahakashyapa."
Great disciple.
Great disciple of Mahakashyapa.
这个发现他说：“哦，这个才知道这是遇到圣人，遇到摩诃迦摄的大徒弟。”
Then Fa Xian knew he had met the sage, the great disciple of Mahakashyapa.
有一会儿，他又想看看这个高人，回头一看，这个和尚也没有了。
He wanted to see this high being again. He turned his head around to have a look, and this monk disappeared as well.
他知道这是不可思议的境界。哎呀，就回到这个庙里头去，然后在印度学梵文。
He knew this was an inconceivable state, so he returned to the temple and learned Sanskrit in India.
学梵文，并且学的写梵文。
He learned Sanskrit and also learned to write Sanskrit.
在那个地方住了一个时期，他看见庙上呢，佛前是供养的有一把扇子。
He stayed there for a while. He saw in front of the Buddha statue inside the temple, a fan was offered.
这个扇子，他就认得这是中国的产品，中国的东西。他也知道有中国的商人。
He recognized that the fan was from China. It was Chinese product, Chinese merchandise. Thus he knew there were Chinese merchants there.
See, the Chinese have always been good with manufacturing. They exported way back then. I listened to this and, excuse me, but, I'm impatient. For all this time here, and he's better than Fa Zhang. Seriously? Huh? He pets black lions. Fa Zhang would never do that. Huh? He's impressed by the disappearing people. For all we know, it could be 2 ghosts or demons. Huh? And he's supposed to be better than Fa Zhang. Okay, I can't wait to see how he evolved to be better than Fa Zhang. I'm really, really curious now, because before Great Master Fa Zhang left China to go to India, he was already an accomplished cultivator. That's how he survived the journey and thrived on the journey. And that's the proper way to go. This guy, I'm not sure what he's doing, why he's even more a bigger contributor than Fa Zhang himself. But Master Hsuan is never wrong. Yes, go ahead for.
Master, who is Fa Zhang?
Oh, Fa Zhang is Huyền Trang. That's the monk, Chinese monk who went to India to bring back a lot of sutras.
Xuan Chang.
Oh, it's all right. Sorry. Okay. Xuan Zhang. Right. Thank you. Right. Thank you. So it's Xuan Zhang. That's why I'm thinking of Xuan Zhang. I mean, he's a great master. Before he left, his kung fu was pretty high already. So the journey improved his kung fu. So he went there. He learned very quickly and out-debated everyone, not because of his language skills, but because his wisdom level is higher than the Indian monks or the Indian scholars. Okay, so you see, he started a high-level kung fu already. This guy here is confused like hell. How is he going to develop on his own? Let's continue. Oh, but it's really dragging out.
以后，他就乘着中国的商人呢，的船呢，回来。
Later, Fa Xian boarded the Chinese merchant's ship to return to China.
在这时候，他得到很多这个印度的这个僧祇律菩萨戒本等等的，这个正属于这个戒律的经典。
At that time, he obtained lots of Indian precept sutras, including Sangha Vinaya and Bodhisattva precepts, etc.
You see, again, this guy is choosing the easy way out. When Xuan Zhang went from China to India, on the way over, he struggled tremendously. And then he stayed there and learned the language and learned the Indian Buddhism, and excelled at that by out-debating all the Indian monks. So after he demonstrated that his knowledge is pretty high, skill level was pretty high, so he said, now I'm going back. Okay, he didn't choose to go by boat. Maybe they weren't available. But my point here is that by bringing back this wealth of sutras by land, his kung fu further improved. In my guess is that he improved some more because it's a lot more dangerous to escort this treasure from India back to China, because you have to cross all these very dangerous territories, and the ghosts and demons and you name it. Okay, so his kung fu has to be even higher in order to protect the treasure. You see, so that's why when he came back to China, his level is pretty high. So his work is outstanding, not surprisingly. But this guy, he did all the wrong things. 20 of them went and ill-prepared, okay, to the point where he lost half of them. Half of the people who went, and he got very afflicted, and then went to a mountain there and prayed. And then he brought back sutras by boat. Oh, he missed out on all the fun stuff. He chose the easy way out. Let's continue. I don't see how he's going to be better than Xuanzang or Fazang, whatever. Fazang is the name of what I'm thinking of right now. It's stuck in my mind. Sorry. Okay, continue, please.
和这个恶寒经，他得了很多。就搭这个船呢，想回到中国，谁不知这遇到大风了。
And also Agama, he obtained many. He boarded this ship and wanted to return to China. Unexpectedly, they encountered a gale.
一刮到那个地方呢，一个从来没有什么人到过那么一个地方，据说就是现在密西哥。
It blew the ship to a place where people had rarely set foot. It is said to be today's Mexico.
到那地方他住了5个月，所以密西哥有的文字和中国那个古来的文字差不多的。
They lived at that place, and he lived there for 5 months. So, some Mexican texts are similar to ancient Chinese characters.
Absolutely. Tacos, tortillas. Yes.
Master, it is not Christopher Columbus discovered America. It's the Chinese.
So it's Faxian. Oh boy, the Europeans are not going to like this. The Spanish people will really hate you. So he also brought Mexican food back to China too, I imagine. Pizza maybe? Huh? You think? Huh? Gotta be pizza. So originally pizza is Mexican, not Italian. Oh yeah. Continue, please.
有密西哥有的很多好像中国的这种的建筑物，就因为发现的时候当然。
In Mexico, there were many buildings like China's. That was because Faxian got there at that time.
Okay. Oh God, Lord. What a boring monk.
因为有几百人呢被风刮到那边去，在那住了5个月。
Because a few hundred people were blown there and lived there for 5 months.
叫他们那个地方的这种文字啊，和建筑。他们从密西哥那地方又走了，搭船呢。
They taught the people there these characters and architecture. Then, From Mexico, they traveled again by sea.
都有遇到风，这个遇到风，这个船上还是200多人呢，有。
Again, they encountered wind. They encountered wind. Again, there were still over 200 people on the ship.
还有密西哥人呢，又有其他的人呢，这么遇到这个风浪呢，这些人就说了。
There were also Mexicans and others. They encountered this wind and waves. Those people said,
Doesn't it bother you? Excuse me. Like India is not that far from China, and the wind blows them all the way to Mexico. Seriously, 500 of them, all the way from India to Mexico. Could be Florida. We don't know. Okay. We have many Chinese buildings in Florida too, just in case Master Xue forgot. It's weird. I'm no good at geography, but to me it seems implausible to go from to sail and be blown all the way off course to Mexico or Cuba or something or Cuba. I'm beginning to doubt this story here. Yes, too.
Well, I think if they started the voyage from eastern China,
India. He came back from India, remember?
From
India.
China to India, though, right?
No. From India back to China. That's why it's baffling to me. How can you blow, how can you, such a bad navigator, and navigate, all the way to Mexico, aided by the wind, and live there for 5 months? And not turn Mexico into China. That's not possible. Yes, 6.
Mô Phật và thầy nói không có. Mình ở nước Việt Nam mà nó thổi qua bên tới Mỹ luôn thầy.
No, both people are different. Both people, we don't need no sail.
Cần một con gió xối là nó thổi tới mình Mỹ nè. Dễ dàng như vậy đó, không thôi là không có cái cơn gió xối này đó, làm sao mà thổi qua tới bên Mỹ này được đó thầy. Rồi mai mốt đó còn thầy ở đây, mình ở đây người ta thổi về tới Tây Phương Cực Lạc bển nữa ha.
Master, the Vietnamese boat people was blown from Vietnam all the way to the U.S. And maybe in the future, we will be blown from here to the Western Bliss Pure Land.
N'importe quoi. Which is French for nonsense. Continue, please. This is becoming interesting. I'm confused like heck. Okay, Kong, go ahead. Okay, we have Master Xian An's Korean input, her Korean insights.
Hello. So back in days, I'm pretty sure there's no Mexico, just the land, but not the country. So I don't know how they record this. Like, do they have the name in Chinese wherever they went to? Because at the time, there's no country Mexico.
Oh, yeah, probably true.
So
back then,
I don't know. How does the Chinese say? Like,
back then, it was only Vietnam.
Nonsense.
Well, you helped me. You set me up. Okay, continue. Oh God, this is getting interesting.
因为有这个沙门，所以遇着这个风浪。
It is because we have this shamana on the ship. That's why we encountered this wind and waves.
很快的把这个沙门呢推到海里去，祭祀这个海神，这个风浪就会没有了。
Hurry up! Let's push this shamana into the ocean as sacrifice to the ocean god. Then the wind and waves will disappear.
Okay, Kong.
Just by the way, I saw the Chinese Kung Fu in Cuba. So there's a Chinese stuff there, interestingly. People are the Cuban people, they're practicing Kung Fu in Cuba. Just for your information.
Big deal. You saw any Chinese restaurants?
I don't think so, but I saw people play Kung Fu.
You can only watch Kung Fu Hustle, and anyone can do Kung Fu. Never mind. Okay.
There was a Kung Fu center there in Cuba. Like people actually have a center.
Yeah, the Chinese Kung Fu is very famous worldwide thanks to the Shaolin group. That's true. But still, it's not the Shaolin is famous. It's the Chinese goods and the Chinese food. Okay? Chinese food is good and it's cheap. And the Chinese goods are no good, but they're cheap. I'm bored. I mean, these stories get me real disoriented. I don't know which and which. Continue, please. Yeah.
于是乎，大家这个人就预备要把这法显法师推到海里头去。在这时候，他有一个护法。
Therefore, they were all ready to push Dharma Master Fa Xian into the ocean. At that time, he had a Dharma protector.
这个谭岳护他的法的人就说你们如果要是想把这个沙门推到海里去。
This crew member who protected his Dharma, he said, if you want to push this shamana into the ocean,
就把我先推进去。如果你不把我一同杀了的话，我到中国一定报告国王。
You should push me down first. If you don't kill me as well, when I arrive in China, I will for sure report you to the emperor.
And guess what? While this is going on between the Indian crew and Mexican crew and Chinese crews, what was Master Fa Xian doing, you think? Huh? Reciting sutras and mantras. Too much. Continue, please.
人呢都没有命了，因为中国的国王呢是信佛的，他是恭敬三宝的。
All of you will be dead, because the emperor of China believes in the Buddha, and he respects the Triple Jewels.
你们如果把他推到海里去，那你们都没有命了。
If you dare push him into the ocean, you are all dead.
啊，就这么样子一说，这个护法大要也是很有力的。
Because he said so, this Dharma protector was probably very strong.
所以这些商人一看打不过他，就不敢把这个发现法师推到海里去。
These merchants couldn't fight him, Thus, they dared not push Dharma Master Faxian into the ocean.
就这么样的，又过了20几天，就到了中国，看见这个岸上呢，有这个中国的一种菜叫梨火。
Like that, and over 20 days later, they arrived in China. They saw on the shore there was a Chinese vegetable called pigweeds.
梨火菜是中国的产品，外国没有的。他们一看就知道到中国了。
These pigweeds were a product of China, not available in foreign countries. Once he saw this, he knew they arrived in China.
一打听呢，上岸去一问人呢，已经到这个山东青州了。
He went ashore and asked somebody where they were. They arrived in Shandong, Qingzhou.
所讲这位法显大师，他到了山东以后啊，这个地方人呢，就去报告这个太守。
This great master Faxian, who I was talking about, after he arrived in Shandong, the locals reported to the prefect.
太守叫李毅，他们就来欢迎他，因为这个李毅也是一个信佛的，对三宝非常恭敬。
The prefect was Li Yi. He went to welcome him. Because Li Yi believed in Buddhism, he was very respectful to the Triple Jewels.
于是乎请他到这个太守的公馆，就想留他在这过年。
Thus, he invited him to the prefect's residence and wanted to keep him there for the new year.
他告诉这个太守，因为啊，他去印度啊去了很久了，现在回来呀，要到京都去。
Faxian told the prefect that because he went to India for a very long time, now that he is back, he wanted to go to the capital.
这个太守啊，挽留他不住啊，就叫他走了。他一走就到这个京城啊。
The prefect couldn't keep him, so he let him go. Faxian left there and arrived at the capital.
当时就是这个小贤法师在这住的，这个庙叫道场寺。
At that time, Dharma Master Jue Xian lived there. The temple was called the Way Place Temple.
在这个地方啊，就翻译经典。他说，在印度请回来的经典呢，有这个僧瞿历，又有泥环经。
At that place, he translated sutras. The sutras he brought back from India, including Sangha Vinaya and Nirvana Sutra.
很多很多的翻译有100多万言。 这么多经典。
There were many sutras. He translated over a million verses, that many sutras.
然后以后啊，他86岁那时候就圆寂了。在他翻译出这个经典呢，有个叫《大迷环经》的。
Later, he passed away at the age of 86. One of the sutras he translated was Mahanirvana Sutra.
一般人呢都很欢喜来研究这一部经典。
Ordinary people all like to study this sutra very much.
这一部经典当时啊都是用手抄本，没有印出来的，都是用手抄出。
At that time, this sutra was hand copied. It was not printed. They were all hand copied.
有一个居士啊，他的姓名啊，忘了。那么他就有这一。
There was a lay person, I forgot his name. He had, in the end,
That's it?
of this file.
Oh, thank you. He's better than Xuanzang? Seriously? I don't see anything he does is better than Master Great Master Xuanzang. I don't get it. Okay, I guess we have to continue another. Yes, 9?
From Jane, it is likely that Venerable Faxian went to one of the islands of the nowadays Indonesia.
Could be, yeah. More likely, yeah. Certainly not Mexico. Yeah, 20 days from Mexico to back to Asia, and that's pretty fast. Okay. So anyway, I just don't see what he does, what he did, that would make him have a bigger contribution, Master Xuanzang, at all. I don't get this story. And nothing he has, nothing that he's achieved. You know, like translating 1,000 verses, so what? Translated Paranirvana Sutra, so what? Okay, translate the Avatamsaka Sutra, I'd be impressed. Anyway, yes, too.
Thank you, Master. I know I've seen the word before, but I can't remember what it means. Could you remind me, what does Shramana mean?
Shramana is a monk, a fully ordained monk. It's a person who has left a home life based on the Indian tradition, where the Brahmins would have this practice where they would abandon the home life and live like a beggar everywhere, okay? And so that's why they called the people who left the home life. So they would do it, those Brahmins would do it for some time, like 2 years or more. And that's how they, that's how they train themselves. Okay, so that's, so when Buddhism got started, the Buddha also became a shramana. Because when he ran away from the royal palaces, he became a shramana, shaved his head, and put on, rag clothing. Okay? So, and that's why after this, after he became a Buddha and created the Sangha, we kept that tradition where and a shramana, we still call ourselves a shramana as well, which is a left form person. In honor of his work. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, Daniel, you've been quiet tonight. Hey, how are you feeling? Look at her face. Look at that. Did you put on foundation? Or how come your face so white? You look better than the lunch. You should see her. Can we have photos of her today at lunch? No? Oh, the Koreans so protective of each other. God. Show the photos on the screen while I'm answering questions here. Yes, Daniel. Hey.
I have a question. I don't understand, or maybe I misunderstood. On the readings today, he was saying that the Chinese emperor respected the triple jewel. However, why would they say he was respecting the triple jewel if he threw the monks into the water?
I don't know. It's so mysterious how ordinary people behave to me. To me, it's like, I'm a monk, worship me. What is the matter with you? You don't throw me to the wolves. So I can't help you. Someone helps you out, please. Is there a photo or no? I told you to take photos today. Yes, the old monk will help me out. 7.
Cái người thương gia này vì sự nguy hiểm của họ giục cái ông này xuống biển chứ đâu phải nhà vua giục đâu. Cái người kia mới nói mấy ông làm thì tôi về tôi báo cáo với vua. Chứ đâu phải nhà vua bỏ xuống đâu.
Don't bother, he's confused. He's not Buddhist, so we will not try to relieve his confusion. He says, basically, without translation, is that you confuse. It's not like that. That's not what transpired. Well, I said, I don't care. Whatever you want to understand, it's Catholic. Okay, finally, it's coming. Okay. And that's a photo of Chung Yin, by the way. And this is when she was, what were you doing, huh? Looks like she's crying. But I don't want to say it because it would sound too cruel. Were you crying? Yeah, you were crying. Continue. More. And I want you to know, a certain person wants to fast for 27 days. You know why you can't last that long? Too many afflictions. That's why. When you fast, you cannot afford to have afflictions. I asked you, who did you hate most? And you still remember too many afflictions. Is this the only photo? Seriously? You didn't find it funny? This is how she combed her hair. And Francis says, stay away from my food. Next one. Why did you won't do this? I mean, it seems like so much suffering. Give her a microphone. Hey, one, speak. I want to hear, is she still alive or she's... Huh? Why did you do it? It's so painful. You guys don't realize it's very, very painful. It was painful, yes? You hate me now. Don't want to be my concubine anymore. Typical concubine. They only serve themselves. Speak. Okay, next. What am I doing here? I want to go home. Husband, where are you? Why are you doing this? Huh? Lost her tongue too. Check her tongue. Somebody check her tongue. Make her open her mouth and see it's still there. Tell us, why would you want to endure this? I don't get it. It seems so different. Look at that, look at that. Oh God, she's so happy. No, she's really crying. No one cares for me. Defend yourself. Why? You still can't talk. I'm still on liquid diet.
질문을 잘 모르겠어요.
I don't understand your question.
Come closer. Hit yourself. Try this first. Harder. It's so much suffering. Why are you doing it? Why do you insist on continuing? It's still, the head is still, the wiring is still not quite functional yet. Oh, look at that. Oh God, that's miserable. This is an advertisement against coming the Way Mountain Temple, you know that? People see these photos, they never dare come to our temple anymore.
근데 이 사진 왜 찍으신 거예요?
However, why did you take these photos?
It's not my fault. I didn't take them. See, she's aggressive. She counterattacks, like concubines do. Didn't take her long. All right, we give her a chance to get some more rest. Eat some more, drink some more. All right, welcome back to the world of the living. Oh, people like you. You may hate us, but we like you. Okay, thank you everyone. Good night. You've been